Hello, everyone. I can see that we are having a good pan India presence in our participation today. And we at Migrate World are extremely pleased to have you all here with us on this session. I would like to start first by introducing our panelists. And we are delighted to have with us today Mr. Shivaz Rai, Managing Director, Migrate World, and our senior consultant, Mr. Kunal Trivedi, based out of Mumbai. As country head India for Migrate World, I take immense pleasure in welcoming all our participants today. I think it's going to be an interesting and informative take on citizenship by investment. Can we start the presentation, please? Thank you. So, a little bit about Migrate World. Migrate World is an industry leader in citizenship and residency by investment. While we were established in 2007, we have over 15 years in the business PR and citizenship by investment program field. With global offices and associates in all the countries we deal with, we are a government approved and licensed firm recognized by the governments in all the countries that we work with. Hence, we only offer government-approved and constitutional programs. Again, we are probably one of the few global players in this field who specialize in PR and citizenship, with offices in Delhi, Mumbai, and Chennai, and senior consultants span India to help you achieve your dreams and goals. We also offer services in real estate management, legal, and financial assistance. Moving on to the next slide. This is a question that most of our clients do tend to ask us because there seems to be a very thin line as per their understanding between, what is citizenship by investment and what is PR by investment. So just a two-liner here, that citizenship by investment is a process of obtaining a second citizenship in the second citizenship and passport by investing in the economy of the host country. And this legally confers citizenship status faster than other traditional immigration processes. And what is very, very interesting here that you don't need to put your lives on hold. You can carry on with what you're doing and obtain the passport of another country in about 3 to 6 months. PR by investment. PR or permanent residency or residency by investment, this is actually a visa status that allows the bearer of the PR card to legally reside in the host country where he has invested without being a citizen of that country. But PR status can lead to citizenship provided the applicant has lived or the resident has lived in that country, or there may be some other criteria that are required for them to fulfill to, go on to citizenship. And, Shivaz, I'm going to bring you in here for the benefit of our participants, Shivaz. Could you share a little about the difference between PR and citizenship?
Thank you, Shalini. Great introduction. Welcome, everyone. Just wanted to spend 5 minutes because in our experience over the last few years, a lot of the clients come to us and still don't, they think that a PR and citizenship almost becomes the same thing. However, actually the rights of a citizen and a PR are extremely different. What's interesting is residency is just a right to legally reside in that country, which can give you a pathway to a citizenship after a number of years in certain cases. However, the citizen actually has the right to vote, the right to office, the right to passports, and more importantly, citizenship is for life, whereas residency is for a certain number of years, similar like your visa status that you might have on your passport, which lasts a few years and then may or may not get renewed. So over at Migrate World, one of the important things what we do offer is the ability to get a citizenship and passport delivered to your doorstep within 3 to 6 months. Once you have a citizenship and passport, you actually get all the rights similar to the citizen of that country, whether it be visa-free travel to over 150 countries, whether it be the right to purchase real estate around the world, whether it be the right to obtain any kind of business dealings or open up new bank accounts or various things that come along with the right of that citizen of that country, as it might be. Hope that clears the question from a brief point of view, but it's very important to understand that a residency is not forever. It could be, but a citizenship is forever. Personally, I've been a Canadian citizen for like over 25 years, but I have not lived in Canada for the last 20 years. And even then, I have still retained my Canadian citizen, and every few years, I get my passport renewed, and I have all the rights which are similar to a Canadian citizen.
Interesting, Shivaz, and this is going to lead me to ask you, being a global citizen, and maybe you can, share your story and shed some light on how citizenship has helped you in your life so far, in your career, with your children, with your family. That would make for an interesting debate for the people to understand exactly what citizenship is all about.
Well, thank you, Shalini. So in the 90s, my parents immigrated to Canada. With the immigration, we initially overall landed immigrants or PRs when we landed into Canada. PRs gave us the ability to actually, both me and my brother ended up getting reduced tuition fees, which is pretty much almost close to free education, and similarly close to free college education that came along with a landed immigrant or PR in Canada. Now, over the next few years, me and my brother both became Canadian citizens. Just living in Canada, studying there, you end up getting that ability to just get a Canadian passport. Now, that Canadian passport has been one of the most important parts of my life. How that actually went through was very interesting because apart from the almost free education in a world-class institution that we got in Canada, I was then able to use my Canadian passport and even take up a job in New York City, where there is a certain number of treaties that are there for Canadians and the US, between the US, for me to be able to get very easy visa-free access as well as jobs in the US. That immediately led to my next part of my life, which was businesses. After I moved out of the North American continent and moved to Singapore or now in Dubai or in various parts, I was able to set up businesses across the world at at relatively ease of doing business, which comes with these stronger passports. The third and the more interesting part was mobility. I could get up. I have over 180 visa-free countries. I never need to think about various parts of the world that I need to travel in. Just last year, when I was locked out in Dubai and my family was locked out in India, we were all able to just travel, just get up and travel into the UK and actually end up being together as a family, even though all the other places were all locked out. So even in a time like Corona, my passport and my wife and kids' passport helped. And that obviously leads to the family part, right? My kids got the Canadian passport through my descent, which similarly a lot of our programs also offer. So once you get a passport, you can pass it down the generations to your family also. Last but not least is obviously the more important part of tax management and various issues that come in. Canada doesn't have any global taxation policies. So essentially, if I'm living in Dubai and I'm a Canadian citizen, my only taxation would be on any income that I earn in Canada, which could be of a house that I rent out or anything like that. Otherwise, other than that, there is no global taxation that comes into this. So it's very efficient tax management tool also for me. Last but not least is obviously security that comes along with a very strong passport, which gives you the ability for the Canadian embassy across the world, or any embassy that you might be a citizen of, whether it be EU or anything, to be able to actually live and work in that entire region of where those passports give you the security of. I hope that kind of answers your question, Shalini, and maybe I've been a little bit more extensive in this question, but I thought it was an important part of understanding what comes with the citizenship.
No, thank you so much, Shivas, and thanks for sharing that bit about your life, because I think it's extremely important for us to understand what you mentioned about global mobility, about tax management, about the business access that you get through all the visa-free countries, and majorly so what you can give to your family and the next generation. I think that's extremely encouraging. And while we at Migrate World, we offer citizenship by investment programs through financial contributions, purchase of property, or business investments, and all of these, as we mentioned earlier, are necessarily government approved and constitutional programs. Depending on the funds available, time that you have, and what goals you want to achieve, we have a number of citizenship and permanent residency programs that are available. Here are a small brief about our citizenship programs. As you can see, we are covering huge parts of the world with our citizenship programs, and then along with our residency programs. A little tidbit here is that, interestingly, St. Kitts and Nevis implemented the first official citizenship by investment program in 1984. And then, of course, the other countries followed suit. Just a little word for the participants. I'm sure you have a lot of questions before the end of this webinar, so please ask away. There is a chat box on the panel for this purpose. Do mention your name, the name of your company, and the city you're from. And here I'm now going to request Kunal to come in and share with you our various Caribbean citizenship programs. So over to you, Kunal.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shalini, for the lovely introduction. But, before moving on to the Caribbean citizenship programs, I would like to know from the audience, what are they looking at from a PR or a citizenship program? So maybe, we can just run a poll.
Fabulous idea, Kunal. Let's go with it.
Yeah. Sure. So I'm just starting with a poll. You guys can respond to it.
Very interesting. Shivas, what's your take on this?
I guess seems like visa-free travel and education are the winners. So
Right.
a lot of our participants here would be very interested in finding out how they can get free education for their kids. Seems like that's a winner.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for that. So, Kunal, over to you.
Sure. So I'll just take you guys through the Caribbean citizenship programs. Now, first and foremost, Caribbean is actually the region, that lies between the southern coast of the United States to the northern coast of South America. Basically between, North and South America. This region has many beautiful island countries. So, I'll introduce you to the Caribbean countries or island countries that offer a citizenship program. These countries are St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Dominica, Antigua and Barbuda, and Grenada. These beautiful island countries are not only known for tourism, but are also very popular for their citizenship programs. In the recent years, the demand has been increasing for these programs as people now want to move out, do business globally, and want to be a citizen of the world. instead of being a citizen just of one single country, they want to have a second passport or maybe multiple passports. So all these programs, follow a very similar model wherein the investors get a direct citizenship and the passport of a country that they invest in. While, these programs offer a direct citizenship, unlike the traditional ones, wherein people used to go and live there on a residence permit, converted into a citizenship by passing certain tests, knowing about the country, the language. But now, because of these programs being introduced, people don't have to go through these hassles. They just, invest money in that country, straight away get their citizenship and their passports. So, the investment in these countries usually starts from $100,000, which is like, if you calculate in INR, it is somewhere around 75 to 76 lakhs approx, which is a small amount. These programs also come with a lot of benefits for the investor, such as they can get their passports within 3 to 6 months, unlike the traditional methods where they used to, live there for a couple of years and then apply for a passport. But now they can straight away get a passport. All these programs are usually family programs, which means the applicant can include his entire family in the application and the entire family gets the citizenship. So, for example, if say I invest, my spouse will get the passport, my children will get the passport, my parents will get the passport, and in certain programs, even my siblings can get the passport. So, that's interesting. These passports allow investors to travel more than 140 countries visa-free, which includes the UK, the European Union, there are some countries in the Asian continent, and also, of course, South American and African countries are also included. One major benefit that the investors get here is they need not reside in a particular country to maintain their citizenship. They also need not visit that country for any application purposes. As you rightly pointed out, Shalini, they can get their passports sitting here in India, sitting at their home. One more interesting benefit that these programs offer is there is no worldwide or personal income tax, and there is no inheritance tax, making these countries tax havens. Plus, all these programs are pretty straightforward, and the applicants can get their passports without passing any kind of language tests. The process is straightforward, as in, they just need to apply first by submitting some of their documents, and then they wait for their approvals. Once they are approved by the government for their citizenship, then they need to invest money to get their citizenship certificates and passports later on. The next interesting program that I would like to talk about is the USA E2 program. The E2 certainly, has become popular in the recent years, say 2-3 years, because of the increased amount for EB5 or investment amounts, being increased for the EB5 program and the longer waiting periods for Indians. Investors started favoring this program in order to enter the US and live in the US. So I'll tell you what exactly E2 is. E2 is basically a treaty of the US government with a few countries under which the citizens of the treaty countries are allowed to live in the US along with their family, provided that they do some kind of a business in the US. So this is kind of a business visa. So Grenada is one such Caribbean country that, is a E2 treaty country that offers a citizenship straight away, and plus, you can enter the US, do business there and live there. However, E2 is a non-immigrant visa, so it might not lead to a citizenship in the US, but you can live forever in the US, provided that your business sustains. You know, the applicant needs to invest in a business in the US and manage the business under this E2 visa. We at Migrate World do offer certain franchisee business opportunities in the US, which are eligible for the E2 visa application. So, though this E2 is a non-immigrant visa, it does come with a validity. So, E2 is valid only for 2 years. However, it can be extended for n number of years. So, this certainly is a very economical and a faster route to enter the US, and to enter the US quickly within a short span of like 3 to 6 months. There are some other E2 treaty countries that offer a citizenship, which are Bulgaria, Turkey, and Canada. So we might talk about this later in the presentation. So next I would like to, Shalini, if you could just throw some light on the Bulgarian citizenship program.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you for that. Yes, well, Bulgaria, thank you for this opportunity to share one of my favorite programs. While our Portugal, Greece, and our other European programs have been doing very well, Bulgaria is now taking the lead. I find that in the India market, the Indians are loving this program because it's the most economical way to get an European Union citizenship in about 2 years. And with numerous financed options available, upwards of 140,000 euros, I think it's the cherry on the cake, like we say. And Bulgaria has been a part of the European Union since 2007, probably one of the oldest members, I think. And this citizenship gives access to live, stay, and work in any of the European Union states. What is interesting is that the Bulgarian citizenship process does not have any minimum stay or language requirement, and dual citizenship is permitted if you have a Bulgarian passport. As you can see, Bulgaria is so beautifully and strategically located, with Turkey and Greece spanning it in the south, with the Black Sea, and then, of course, the Middle East on the east. Then on the west, it's flanked by all the European Union countries. It makes for a great logistic hub into the European Union. A few, advantages of getting a Bulgarian passport or being a Bulgarian citizen is firstly, like I mentioned, your ability to live, work, and study anywhere in the European Union after citizenship. You have access to the EU consular assistance in any of these 27 EU states. Being one of the most affordable EU citizenship at this time, what it also does is that the tax rates here are extremely attractive at 10% for corporate or individual tax. Of course, like we mentioned in our poll, I think access to family healthcare and education was one of the winners. And there is access to healthcare facilities and excellent healthcare facilities throughout the European Union. Free or lower cost of education within the European Union. And if you're looking at Bulgaria itself, I think it's got two of the, topmost universities in Europe, the University of America and the Sofia University, where education is in the English language. And by the way, Bulgaria is primarily an English-speaking country, and Indians have been going to Bulgaria and setting up stay there since 1986. So it's a country that is well used to the Indians, with a lot of Indian restaurants. Coming to the currency, it is pegged to the euro. And of course, euro is one of the best traded currency, hence your funds are essentially safe. They've applied to get onto the euro currency, and from next year, Bulgaria will probably shift from the Bulgarian lev to the euro, which makes it again a very, very strong country to have a passport, and then free trade within the EU, as I mentioned, strategic logistics hub, and access to not just the European Union, but visa-free access to Canada, to UK, and then in the east to Singapore and Japan. I mean, you're literally, while the European Union is home, you're literally accessing 73% of the world, like Shivaz said, visa-free. So hence mobility access to best education, healthcare. I think it answers a lot of the questions that we are looking at. The E2 treaty that Kunal mentioned, Bulgaria does have that with the US, and hence being an investor visa with an investment of about 100 to 150,000 US dollars, you can settle down in the US on. But remember, like Kunal said, it's non-immigrant. It's a non-immigrant visa, but you have the ability to be able to live there and reside there and work there with your children and family indefinitely. So I guess that's the attractive option that Bulgaria gives us. And another very attractive country in Europe that gives citizenship in about 6 months is Turkey. Kunal, could I request you to take us through the Turkey program, please?
Sure. Thank you for sharing your lovely insights on the Bulgarian citizenship program. It seems like an interesting program. So, Turkey, everybody has known Turkey for so long. Turkey actually occupies a very unique geographic position as it acts as a bridge between two continents, which is Asia and Europe. Very well known as a beautiful tourist destination, Turkey also offers or allows foreigners to become a citizen of the country by investing in the country. So, in order to obtain the citizenship, investors are required to invest at least $250,000 into real estate in Turkey. We have some finance options also available, which are quite interesting. Now, the beauty of this program is that the investors can obtain their citizenship in 3 to 6 months, and they are not required to live in the country to maintain their citizenship. So we'll just see what are additional advantages that the Turkish citizenship program offers. Turkey or the Turkish passport holders can travel to 110 countries visa-free, which also includes the UK. Investors who are applying for a Turkish citizenship can include their spouse and children below the age of 18 in their application. Now, here is something which is very interesting, that Turkish citizenship is transferable by descent, which means once the main applicant gets the citizenship, then it can be transferred to his children irrespective of their age, making it a favorable program amongst a lot of nationalities. So, Turkish citizenship program has recently picked up very much, and a lot of people are now interested in obtaining the Turkish citizenship because of the benefits that it offers. After obtaining the citizenship, the children can access education facilities in the country provided by the government, and all the applicants enjoy the world-class healthcare facilities which are provided by the government in Turkey. So Turkey also falls under the E2 treaty, which means if say you become a Turkish citizen, you can then apply for an E2 visa and go and live in the US and do business there. Also, the Turkish passport is ranked amongst one of the top 30 passports in the world. One more interesting fact is that Turkey recognizes dual citizenship, which means if you are holding a Turkish passport, you can also hold a passport of Bulgaria or maybe Canada or St. Kitts and Nevis. So you can hold 2 passports at a time. So maybe I'll request Shivas to take it forward.
Thank you so much, Kunal. Shalini, that was exceptional information that you gave, and thanks again, everyone. I'd like to spend some time maybe going on to the Q&A section, and our first question actually has come in from Mr. John Ambrose. Now, he's having some connectivity issues. So before we jump into Q&A, I just want to let everyone know that the entire team at Migrate World is there for a free consultation. You spend time and effort also to actually come into the webinar just is not the end of this conversation. It's just the start of it. There'll be a lot of questions which we may be able to answer here, but there might be certain things which might be a little bit more personal and a little bit more specific to your entire situation. And we invite you to email us or call us on the phone number below, which will connect you to us, and we will hope to be able to give you a one-on-one consultation. However, I'll jump straight into Q&A, and the first question that's come is from John Ambrose that I will be personally taking that up. His question is, suppose we get citizenship passport, how soon do I have to surrender my Indian passport and then apply for an OCI? Period between surrender of my Indian passport and application for an OCI till receipt of OCI. What is my status in India? Am I permitted to reside in India, or will I have to leave the country till I get the OCI? And after that, after obtaining the citizenship and the OCI, do I have to pay any income tax to the Indian government for monies earned in India, either doing business or salaries? So first to start, I'll give you my own personal example. My kids were born in India. Both of them, as soon as they were born, did not get an Indian passport, but instead got a British and Canadian passport through me and my wife. There was a period of 3 to 6 months where they were passportless. As soon as they did get their passport, they applied for their OCI. The OCI took about 3 months during that time. This was a few years ago now, so I'm not sure what exactly the timeline, but that changes on a, I would say month-to-month basis. I'm not exactly sure on how things have acted on Corona times, but you should look at it around another 3 months' time. Now, essentially, in the 6 months' time, my kid was passportless, but was still living in India. Once he got the the Canadian passport, and when we went to actually apply for an exit permit, there was a little bit of a fine that was applied to us. Now, that fine was because that there was a duration and number of months that he was living without any specific visa status. So to answer your question, you actually have up to 1 year after obtaining a citizenship to give up your Indian passport. However, there can be a fee that is levied to you by the Indian government for not immediately giving up your passport. Hope that kind of clarifies this. You can live in India. There can be a fine applied if your passport is not given up within that 1 year in the stipulated period. Our case was very specific because he ended up becoming a stateless person, and he got his passport, then applied, so that's why there was a fine to it. Now, what's interesting is, do you have to pay taxes or not? Now, this is a very common question that comes from a lot of people and clients that we end up dealing with. Please, I always like to give an example of a Bulgarian pilot living in India. Now, a Bulgarian pilot living in India, working for Indigo, for example, would obviously be getting his salary in INR in India into his bank account. He is liable for all taxes for his entire earnings in India as per the Indian rules and laws. However, let us imagine if there is a Bulgarian pilot living now who is an Indian OCI holder, but living and working for Emirates in Dubai. That client, even though he's a Bulgarian citizen, and because he's not living in Bulgaria, living in Dubai, which is a tax-free country, will not be liable for any taxation because of his residency as well as his passport that he holds. I'm trying to explain this in examples because it's a very specific thing. However, for your income earned in India, you will be liable for taxes as per the Indian tax government laws. I hope that kind of tries to answer the question. There are certain very specific questions that John is asking, and I would highly recommend that if he could maybe contact us. We've given you all our email addresses as well as our numbers so that we can take this further offline. Over to you, Shalini.
Thank you. Thank you, Shivaz. That was explicit, very well explained, and I think it gives a great idea onto the OCI process, how it works and the timelines. Of course, keeping in mind the pandemic, one needs to be a little careful that there are changes in timelines across the globe on various issues. I see another question which I think I can take on from Megha. Megha, you're asking, can I live in France with my Bulgarian passport? The answer to that is yes. Once you have a Bulgarian passport, you get access to the European Union. Not only can you live in France, but in case you have anybody you can live, you can work, you can study, your children have access to all the facilities in France. And if your parents having non-EU passports want to come and visit you, there is a long-term visit of at least up to 5 years allowed in France. All that is required is an online permit that needs to be filled up. I think these countries are very particular about the census, and that's why that permit is required. I hope that answers your question, Megha. I'm going on to the next question, and I think Kunal, this one, you can take this one. Does a Caribbean passport give me access to visa-free travel to the UK?
So yes, it does give you a visa-free travel to the UK, and the most exciting part about this is you can stay in the UK for up to 180 days, which is 6 months at a stretch, on a Caribbean passport. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Kunal. Yes. Rajesh Batreja is asking that I'm interested in the Canadian PR. Rajesh, please contact us. Our email IDs are given here. Shalini, Srinath, Kunal, Meenu, Jaswinder. I'm based out of Delhi. Srinath is in Chennai. Kunal is based out of Mumbai. Meenu and Jaswinder take care of Northern India. Please get in touch with us. You can also book your free consultation with us, Rajesh, either through our website or as per the link that is shared on the chat box. You're most welcome, and we would love to share the details with you. John is asking, I hope John is able to hear us now. John has asked another question, and Kunal, maybe this goes to you. Does a mother age 69, widowed daughter age 55, and divorced or separated son constitute a single family for Caribbean island? I think, John, it's a good idea for us to get on to a consultation with you. I think these questions which are based on personal, requirements could be best answered on a one-on-one. And I believe your audio and video link is also down, so do get in touch with us. Yeah. And there is a question, Shivaz, that has come in for you. Can I open a bank account in London with a St. Kitts passport? This is Puneet Punjal.
Yes, absolutely, Shalini. That's a very interesting. Once you do have a global passport, like St. Kitts or anything, you have the right to actually open accounts, reside for that amount, and own properties in various parts of the world. So once you do take up an alternative citizenship, you can actually go open up a bank account as well as own a property in London. Or other places. One of the biggest advantages of a global passport is it gives you that ability to now have global banking relationships also, and global properties that you might want, either as savings or investments or whatever you might want. Hope that answers that question.
Yes, thank you. It's expanded on the question, so that's really nice. Thanks, Shivaz. So, Janki is asking us this question, and Kunal, it's on the E2, so I'm going to pass this on to you. After getting any of the mentioned country passports and applying for E2, does one have to invest in the US?
So, yes, one has to invest into the US, and the investment has to be done into a business. So we have certain franchisee business opportunities in the US that you can invest in and obtain the E2 visa. So the investment usually starts from $150,000.
Right. John is asking whether we have an office in Chennai. Yes, John, we do. Please get in touch with us at 98104546 or get onto our website and have a free consultation. You can also email us at srinath@mygreatworld.com. Um, uh, I think John is having a lot of problems with his, internet. There is another question that comes up, which says that, and I'll take this question from Smita. Smita, you're asking, can I live in Italy on a Portuguese PR? Now, this is an interesting question because right at the beginning of the webinar, we had explained the difference, and Shivas had explained the difference between permanent residency and citizenship. Permanent residency gives you access to the country in which you've invested and have asked for a residency for. While a Portuguese PR gives you access to the Schengen countries, it is a visa-free access, which means that you can travel without a visa, but it does not give you the right to live, work, and study. For that, you have to get your citizenship or passport. So that is the slight difference between PR and citizenship. Rahul Banerjee is asking us a question, and I'm going to give this to Kunal. Kunal, you've mentioned citizenship by descent. What do you mean by that?
So citizenship by descent is basically, when suppose a person gets a citizenship, he can pass it on his citizenship to his future generations. For example, just like in Shivas's example, he got the citizenship of Canada. He passed it on to his children, and then his children can also pass it on to their children, which is quite interesting. Irrespective of the age of the children, they can just pass it on to the future generations.
Right. Recently, yes, it was very interesting because the grandmother can make sure that her 3 children down the line and their children down the line, I think up to 3 to 5 generations, can obtain the citizenship by descent. Like Shivas mentioned, his children got the Canadian passports by descent. Very interesting. Super. Rohit Gupta is asking, what is the investment required for immigration visa for Canada, Caribbean, and US? So, Rohit, please do get in touch with us. But just to give you a brief, that the investments normally start, like Kunal mentioned, from $100,000 onwards. US, of course, at the moment is 500,000. We can get into the details with you once you meet up with us or get in touch with us. Canada is about 200,000 Canadian dollars. So once you get in touch with us, we can get into more details about the programs and share with you how you can achieve your goals in, investing in these programs. Atul Jain asks that I would like to opt for Bulgarian citizenship and do business in the European Union and UK. Excellent idea, Atul. Please go for it. Contact us and we will ensure that you're able to get your citizenship.
One question that has come up, Mr. Jain, I'd like to just respond to this. You've written that the fee amount is 900K for the EB5. Actually, in just for the last month and a half, the price of investment into the EB5 for the US has been reduced to $500,000 US. We're not sure when this will last till, but it is there. At the moment, there is a reduced pricing based on a certain new judgment that has come through for the EB5 of the US. Please contact us and we can discuss Canada and the US on a one-on-one basis.
Right. The last question, I think, which I can see here, please correct me if I'm wrong, is from Rajesh Patreja. He's asking, if I opt for Bulgarian citizenship, can I reside in Canada? Rajesh, the Bulgarian citizenship gives you visa-free access to travel to Canada. But you would have to, since dual citizenship is allowed by the Bulgarian passport, you can easily apply for another passport for Canada that will give you the right to reside and be a citizen of Canada. Atul Jain is asking, do you have your office or branch in Pune? Kunal is based out of Mumbai and he travels very often to Pune. Please do get in touch with him at kunal@migrateworld.com or ask for a free consultation through our website or through the link that has been shared on the chat. You can also call us or WhatsApp us at 981000 4546.
Great. I think hopefully that has answered most of the questions. I'm going to ask Mr. Bajaj, who's got a very interesting question, which is about the Malaysian living in Malaysia and with an Indian passport. You would be able to surrender your Indian passport at the Indian consulate in Malaysia itself. A lot of people, as a matter of fact, when I got my Canadian citizenship, I did the same thing. I surrendered my Indian passport there and immediately applied for my OCI. Actually, it was called PIO at that point. So my passport was surrendered. I got a PIO stamped in the next few months there. Similar process would be exactly how you would follow, Mr. Bajaj. But again, I would now like to, take this time to maybe highly recommend everyone to just please note our numbers and our emails down and request you to try and please book this on a one-on-one consultation basis so that we can answer your specific questions and all your doubts or individual queries that you might have specific to your current situation and the visa statuses that you will achieve or what will be the next steps for you on an individual basis. So, Shalini, any last words for you before we just end this? Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you, thank you, Kunal, for such a great webinar. We've had some very interesting questions, and I want to thank the participants for being such a awesome viewers. Thank you so much for all this. I hope we've been able to answer all your questions. Paresh, I see that you've asked another question. Please get in touch with me at shalini@migrateworld.com and we will share all the details with you. Do get in touch with us, like we've mentioned. We are based out of Delhi, Mumbai, and Chennai, but we do have our senior consultants pan-India. Thank you all for a lovely webinar.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.